All right. What sort of things do you talk about / believe in, Jen?
B-Man, save us. Start an argument with C.
Actually, I think you're
I don't want to argue with him.
actually.
All of a sudden today you don't. All right, B-Man.
Bro, I'm
What did
playing
you say?
chess.
What did you
That's
say?
why your elo is like 85.
What did you say, Zizo? What did you say,
What?
Zizo?
I see. I'll just overtalk
What
you,
did you
bitch.
say,
I don't know why you're trying to
Zizo?
overtalk.
What did
Bro, I
you say,
can't hear you.
Zizo?
What did you say, Zizo?
Like
What did you say, Zizo? What
Ice,
did you say, Zizo?
ice.
Thank you, bro. Unsound.
I don't want to do that. We could talk about whether numbers exist. Do you think
Yeah,
numbers
my
exist?
dick's sick. Y'all dick ever just stink?
Bro, what are you talking about, bro?
No, because I cleaned that shit, man. You just have to clean it. Wait, what did he say?
Do you think numbers exist?
Numbers exist. Numbers physically
You're
exist.
not fucking funny, bitch.
No, I don't think numbers physically exist, no.
I mean, obviously not physically. Do you think it exists abstractly?
What does it mean to exist abstractly? Like, I think about it, yeah.
Some sort of platonic form.
Wait, some form of platonic form?
Ah, shit on niggas.
I don't affirm Platonism.
Talking about what's it called?
Oh my word. Okay. I don't want this debate to be boring as fuck. So let's just think of something that's like quite interesting. I don't know.
We can do veganism.
You're a vegan?
Yeah.
I'm not a vegan, so.
Okay, we can talk about it. I just don't think suffering is cool.
Let's discuss.
I don't think suffering is cool, like, or at least unnecessary suffering.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just ask you this. So what is a trait that's true of humans and animals, but not true of plants, that makes them morally sufficient to eat plants and not morally sufficient to eat humans and animals?
Oh, the ability for them to not suffer. They don't have any qualia. They can't suffer.
So anything with qualia is impermissible to damage, and
Or anything with continuous qualia, yeah. Like that continuous qualia.
I'm just an eliminated materialist. I don't even think qualia exists. Why would I grant that qualia exists?
Okay, like the ability to have consciousness, then whatever it may be, like we control if you want.
Okay, are you a fan of, I don't know, the death penalty?
Death penalty?
Yeah.
I would say so. No.
Okay, are you a fan of killing flies?
Killing flies? No.
Okay, even if there's an invasive species, you're not a fan of killing it?
Oh, like to defend myself and defend my suffering, then yeah, I'll be fine with killing it.
To defend your suffering, is that what you said?
To defend myself, yeah. I don't want like flies bugging me. Literally, no pun intended.
Okay, so
this is such a weird topic.
You're fine of killing flies and other conscious beings as long as it defends yourself and people you care about.
Yeah.
And that's because you have value towards yourself and people you care about.
Yeah.
What if I want to increase my pleasure, right? So in order to prevent suffering, you want to defend yourself. If I want to increase my pleasure, I'm going to eat animals. What's the issue?
Wait, because pleasure is not the same as defense. Like, what if someone has pleasure of eating humans? Like, would you be fine with that?
Well, there's a lot more that needs to be said here.
What if you're like like you take pleasure in like raping 4-year-old little boys?
What?
I mean, there's a lot more that needs to be said here. Once again,
I'm one of them.
Like, obviously, pleasure in every instance isn't a good thing, right? But that's mainly because the pleasure that's derived is less than the suffering that the other person experiences.
Okay, yeah. So like in this case, I'm just not a fan of like suffering and beating like little dogs with shovels, you know?
Yeah. What if we just killed them in a way that they didn't experience suffering?
I think negating consciousness is a form of suffering.
I don't think so.
Do you think suffering has to entail pain? Like, you understand, like, you can suffer in ways that are not painful, right?
What do you define suffering as?
Just any form of, like, negative experience.
Yeah, but you can't experience if you're not... What?
Yeah, but, like, stopping experience is a pretty negative thing. Wouldn't you say that?
I disagree. Stopping
you disagree
experience...
with that?
What if I stop a negative experience? Is that also negative?
You stop a negative experience to a positive experience? I mean, I would say that's making something positive. That's not stopping an experience, though. God damn.
No. If I'm having a negative experience and I stop that negative experience, is that stoppage still negative or no?
Wait, sorry?
If I have a negative experience and I stop that negative experience, is that negative experience I've just stopped? Or rather, it's just stoppage of that negative experience?
No, but you're not stopping experience, though. That's the thing. You're just stopping the negativity of it. You still have an experience.
Oh, well, so why would I grant that stopping experience as a whole is a bad thing?
You're not fine with, like, so, like, for example, if I knock somebody out, is that, like, a good thing? And, like, if I painlessly kill humans, then, like, are you fine with that?
Knocking somebody out is a bad thing insofar as it causes damage to the person, but I don't think the action of losing consciousness is inherently bad.
Okay, so, like, you're fine with, like, knocking out humans, then?
No, because that causes damage to the person.
Okay, like, are you fine with, like, painlessly, like, putting humans to sleep for no reason?
Well, it's not as if my actions for no reason.
What do you mean your actions for not for no reason?
Like, I'll grant. Are you fine with euthanasia in the sense that if someone's approaching the end of their life, they're fully in the capacity necessary to make these decisions, and they say, "Well, look, I've lived a long life. I've said all my goodbyes.
Sure,
I've
but like in this case, like, there's no potential for a positive experience at all.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. No, there still definitely is potential for positive experience. They just feel like yeah. So let's just say, like, I don't know, in the future, maybe they could have more experience with their children or whatever. But right now, they're content and they're happy with the experience that they've currently had. Do you not think that it might be amoral? It might not be moral to let them kill themselves, but it certainly wouldn't be immoral to let them end their lives.
It would be certainly amoral to let them kill themselves, but would it be immoral to let them kill themselves? What? I don't get it.
It certainly wouldn't be moral, so I don't think it would be a good thing necessarily. But it definitely would be a bad. Yeah,
I'm confused on the point here. I'm confused on the point.
You said the stopping of experience is bad. And I said, what if someone is like euthanasia, where they've come to the end of their life, they might have future good experiences, but as of right now, they're pretty content with how they've lived. They've said all their goodbyes. Is it a bad thing inherently to stop them from living?
Oh yeah, if they have potential for like being healthy again, or like whatever, then yeah. But like, then yeah, I think that's absolutely like a bad thing. Like if I kill,
so do you think that we ought to actualize potentials?
We ought to actualize potential. What do you mean?
You're saying that because they have a potential good experience in the future, that we ought to actualize that?
Wait, they have a good potential. We ought to actualize that. It's not even about valuing the potential itself. It's just stopping any like preconceived notion of not having potential.
Yeah. So do you think it's a bad thing to stop experience then?
It's a bad thing to stop experience.
Uh-huh.
I think it is a bad thing to stop experience unless like they're gonna suffer like immensely. This is why I'm finding like euthanasia with animals and whatnot.
Yeah, I just don't understand. So I just don't take it that there's some sort of quality about the end of experience that makes it morally not okay.
Wait, something about the end of experience that makes it morally not okay?
Like when I go to sleep, is that a bad thing?
Huh? No, but it's not ending experience. Like you're gonna have experience again when you wake up.
Oh, so it's the potential, or not potential, the permanent end of experience that's a bad thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a bad thing.
You don't think that's a bad thing? So like, are you fine with like painlessly killing people then?
That's an imposition of will. That's different.
Wait, an imposition of will?
Yeah, like if the person wanted to die and they were in the full cognitive capacity, and we tried to make them.
You're fine with like just people killing themselves then, right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, you're perfectly fine. You think it's like perfectly okay. Like you wouldn't like attempt to stop it. Like for example, there's a person on the bridge. According to your rules, you should tell them to jump off the bridge, right?
I don't know, granted that they're in the cognitive capacity necessary, and then people that are depressed may be in states of high emotion and high tense emotions, in which case
you're basically saying that the only times people kill themselves is like when they're mentally not okay. Like, are you saying like you're not okay?
Someone might make the decision to kill themselves when they mentally are okay, right? You just make the decision to. And in that case, I don't think it's immoral for them to kill themselves. I think that's their own decision.
Wait, sorry, I'm just in a boss fight right now. What were we saying?
So, listen, I'm just in a box fight right now. Okay, like, I was just saying that in the cases where people make the decision to kill themselves, maybe you're like, I don't know, an old woman and you want to die because you feel that there's nothing else to live for or something. It's not as if you're in a high emotional state, right? The decision is perfectly fine, in my opinion.
Okay. So basically, like, if there was like a person of any way, shape, or form says, "I want to kill myself," you tell them, "Yo, yeah, kill yourself, yeah."
Granted that they're in the state to make those decisions, yeah.
Okay, no, I was just like, okay, like, just clear with that. Like, you understand, like, most people would not like grant that at all. Like, to like tell like people to kill themselves, right?
No, I'm not saying. Okay, look, this is the issue. I'm not saying go around and tell people to kill themselves. I'm saying because once again, a lot of people went.
No, what's the issue with it? Like, there should be no problem according to you. Like,
the issue of going around telling people to kill themselves.
Yeah, according to you, there should be no issue with that.
It's the same issue of like, I don't know why you don't rape people that are drunk or have sex with people that are drunk.
Wait,
right? They're not in the capacity to make those decisions, right?
No, I'm just saying, what if there's like a sane person? Like you'd still be fine like down the like.
Oh yeah, if the person is perfectly sane and perfectly aware of the entailments of what they're going to do, then sure. Like, why would
you go like tell them like, yo, kill yourself. Like you think that's
why would I force them to not kill themselves if they want to?
Huh?
Why would I force them to not kill themselves?
I understand like intuitively, like, at least most people would not be okay with that, right?
I don't share that intuition.
Okay, you don't share that. No, that's perfectly fine then. Like, I was just like saying like where you can derive that, but like, I mean, if you don't share that intuition, you're just like fine like telling people like to kill themselves. Like that's perfectly okay then.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And just to be clear, like you're a Christian individual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a Christian individual who's like fine with like telling people to kill themselves. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
not
fine.
Oh,
sure.
bitch ass nigga, let's debate,
What would
dumbass boy.
you suggest that we should do instead of telling people to kill themselves?
Tell people not to kill themselves. Tell them to be
Yeah,
comfortable.
but clearly, look, if they're in the current mental state where they are perfectly cognitive,
Okay.
and they're not insane or whatever, and they want to do this decision, I mean, if you
You
already
agree,
try to
like-
explain to them,
You
like,
agree,
here,
like this side is usually like towards people who are like not in like the best situations or like perhaps like
what'd you say?
okay, so, like for example, yeah, it's like most people like who do commit themselves usually are like in terrible living situations, like in extreme poverty or whatnot, right? Do you think that's like would you consider that a mental impairment or like would you say like what's happening there?
No. Well, the example that was specifically given was the example of euthanasia. So
Wait,
if it,
I get that, but I'm telling you like
if
that's
it's an example regarding transient states, so maybe hold on.
because I just want to get to be clear because like not only are you going to be telling people like to kill themselves, but you also think poor people are mentally impaired, which is like a little bit interesting.
Wait, give me a second. That's not what I was saying. So, like, what I was saying was, if it's an example regarding transient states, so maybe like the place that you live in or your financial situation or whatever. If that's the sort of thing that's making you want to kill yourself, then obviously I think what would be best for that person is to help them out, right? But like, obviously that was the example of the euthanasia.
But why help them out though? Like they should be fine with them killing themselves because like you have no issue like ending consciousness at all, like permanently. Like if as long as you're famous.
Hold a second. I said there's nothing inherently wrong with ending consciousness permanently. Obviously, if you add these external factors in, then you can reason that there's something wrong with it.
Wait, what external factors you're talking about?
Poverty,
Okay,
murder.
so if someone's poor, then it's okay. Like it's not okay to kill them. Like tell them to kill themselves. Sorry.
No, if someone's poor and they want to kill themselves, what I would personally do is I would offer them that support. But if they do end up killing themselves, right? I would say, oh well, it's not as if they were in a wrong state of mind. They were perfectly sane. They knew that they had these resources. They didn't take them, so it's not as if they've done something terribly wrong. That's just their decision.
Okay, so you don't think no, I'm just telling you like you could just be fine like with like would you say like then it's a reasonable advice to tell them if it's not immoral to like kill themselves like if they're in the suffering? Because like you think it's not immoral, right? Like to end your consciousness, like when you tell someone I believe no, it's not immoral. It's like according to you, it should be fine. Then there should be no problem with you telling people, okay, like go ahead and like do it.
Oh my word! Like no, that's also like a different thing entirely. So the issue is telling people to kill themselves, as opposed to just saying whether the person actually makes that decision on their own is. When you tell the person to kill themselves, you're also not helping with that situation in itself. So if what you're saying here is that in all situations we ought to help people that want to end their suffering or kill themselves, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Wait, I'm confused because like just to be clear, right? When we're talking about helping someone, the reason why most people would say no, it's probably not okay, and it's not help, is because making someone kill themselves, even if it's painless, is immoral. But like you're saying, it is moral, so that's why I'm giving you this like.
No, I never said it's moral. I said it's amoral, right? As in, it's neither immoral nor moral.
But it's neither immoral nor moral. It's like, then what's the issue? Like telling them like if it's not going to do anything.
If that was a question, I just take it that, well, when it comes to these situations, it's very likely that, once again, given the example, that these people could be helped psychologically. So it could be the case that psychologically they're in a very tense state, and if we were to give them the help that they need, they would no longer be in this tense state. In which case, I don't think that the reasoning is something that we should take into account, right? I think that, once again, it's one of those cases with like mentally ill people. But in the example of the euthanasia, which I want to bring this debate back to, with the euthanasia example, the person is not talking about any transient states. They're talking about the fact that they already feel content with how they've lived. They're not depressed. They're not sad. They're not upset. They have none of these volatile emotional states that might cause them to make impulsive decisions. So it's completely different. Pardon?
I'm really confused on what you mean by content. Like they've already like 98 years old.
Yeah, like if what you mean, like, yeah, like once again, in the example of the homeless person or whatever, the person with no home or whatever, they're probably extremely upset with their difference of life, and that's probably why they make the decision to kill themselves. That's like heavily disanalyzed from the example of the euthanasia patient.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna ask like a very basic question then, because when you talk about like they're just content to live, clearly that content is a pretty subjective thing. They don't have to be like a 98-year-old like patient or whatever. Like they can be like a 30-year-old who's already content like with the way he lived. Like what if me graduating high school is like me being content? Like do you think then like it's reasonable to like euthanize me?
No, because you want to live more, right? Because you want to live more, right?
Wait, how do you know that?
In the hypothetical, if you want to live more, then we would not euthanize you.
No, I get that, but I'm telling you, if content is a very subjective thing, then like a high schooler who is content with the way he lived, and, like he doesn't care, I'm like, oh, he graduated high school, like that's like his only achievement he wanted, and now he's content. Like then what?
Does he want to live more?
No. He says like, oh, like I fulfilled my purpose in life. That's it. I'm content. Would you like be fine with like euthanizing him?
How old is he?
18.
If he's at the age where he could make these decisions, he understands the ramifications of these decisions.
Okay.
I'll say it's amoral. Yeah.
Amoral. Okay. So like, there's no issue like euthanizing high schoolers because like they fulfilled like their purpose in life. Okay.
No, there's no issue with high schoolers choosing to end their own lives inherently if they feel like they've already been.
Wait, say it louder for the VC again.
Yeah, I'll say it louder. Look, there is no issue with suicide. Granted that the person that's committing suicide knows what they are doing and is free to live their life and is not in an emotionally volatile
I'm glad we got that. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so yeah, you have no issue then with then suicide because according to like ending qualia. So like, do you think then
hold on a second. Look,
practice consent then, right?
I have a question for you quickly. How do you propose we deal with these people that are fully content with their lives? They're not in these emotionally volatile states, and they just genuinely do not want to live further. Do you propose that we lock them up and like force them to live further? Is that what you propose?
No, I think in all situations we try to prevent them from like killing themselves.
Yeah. But, so you want to keep in mind force them to live on? That's what you want to do.
I don't know about it's not necessarily force, but rather convincing them. I don't think convincing someone of something is forcing them.
Convincing them how if they're already aware of all of the entailments?
Wait, sorry?
Look, I already stipulated in the example, they're already aware of all the entailments. So they already know, look, I'm not going to be able to marry, I won't have children.
No, I get that. But I'm telling you
so how do you convince them?
Huh? The issue,
how
right?
Do you convince them?
Wait. I'm telling you that if you can be aware of something, then I can convince you of otherwise, because maybe you're not aware of like something else. Unless you're trying to say like...
Wait, hold on a second. What I'm stipulating here is that if the person is fully aware of what they'll do, right, and they're aware of how this thing will harm them.
You don't think, for example, depressed people or like, or suicidal people are aware of the entailments of them killing themselves?
But depressed people, maybe not, because they're in an emotionally volatile state. But many suicidal people are definitely aware of the entailments of their position, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like, they still go to therapy, like, to try and convince them of otherwise. Even though, like, they are aware of the entailments, they're maybe not aware of something, or, like, a different perspective, right?
There could be, yeah.
Sorry?
It could be the case, yeah.
It could be the case. Okay, so it could be the case that...
I think the disanalogy here is, once again, when we go to things such as therapy or, like, interventive sessions, we go to these sessions because we want to continue living. So it may be the case that this depressed person wants to continue living, and out of desire, they go to these therapy sessions, and the therapy sessions are inadequate, and so they kill themselves. That's fundamentally distinct from a depressed person who does not want to continue living. If they do not want to continue living, then they won't choose to go to therapy sessions. So I just want to make that very clear. Yeah,
no, I'm telling you, like, even then, I don't think it's like, unless you want to say like, according to like, if it's like pro total, like all else considered, like it's like the reasonable option to kill themselves. Do you think because either A, like killing yourself like the most reasonable option, which would be very difficult to prove, or B, it isn't, and like there's more reason that you're just simply not aware of. You can be aware of the entailments of it, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, or like you're not aware of like all that could happen.
Yeah, but the issue is, and I think I'm just going to bring this back, is maybe you might stipulate that they may not be aware of one fact, And this one fact that if they were to be made aware of may change their position entirely. If that was the case, then I would be a little bit iffy on whether that murder. It wouldn't sit right with me. It wouldn't sit right with me personally. Yeah. But in the same sense, I don't know if I would say that it was immoral for that person to save their own life. Whether actually no, it depends. If you hash out the term immoral as they shouldn't have done it, then yeah, they shouldn't have done it. If they wanted to live on and if they knew this thing, then they would have lived on. Then yeah, they shouldn't have done it. But what I was stipulating here is that this person knows all of the entailments of their position that can be known to them, and nothing that they will know will change their mind. They're pretty obstinate on this, and so that would be fine. But if you disagree with that position, then wasn't your initial position that you want to avoid suffering and maximize pleasure?
That wasn't my initial position. I'm not a utilitarian. I never affirmed the utilitarian position once. I just said I'm not fine with. What I said was I'm just not fine with unnecessary suffering. To say.
Okay, so then you're not fine with unnecessary suffering. So if we have this sort of person who genuinely does not want to live, right? Like they just don't want to live, whatever. And instead of like, I don't know, just being like, you know what, bro, you do you, feel me? Instead of that, you say to them, look, you're gonna go to these therapy sessions. You are not allowed to kill themselves. And in response to that, they are now suffering.
The problem with this example, right, is that when you talk about those scenarios, usually you're not prolonging their suffering because there's other ways of preventing the suffering without literally telling them to kill themselves. Like, for example, if like, I don't know, they're like in an extreme social situation, they have social anxiety or whatever, right? There's ways to get around that without, like telling them like, oh, kill yourself.
Yeah. See, all of the examples you can posit here are just examples when they're in either like some sort of transient state of affairs. So maybe they're
you don't think mental illness can be cured at all?
Yeah, no. if they have a mental illness, then they're in an emotionally volatile state.
Wait, what's not a transient state then? Like,
something like the euthanasia example I gave you, where they just
like
fully
example, like, so you don't care to live anymore.
Not where it's not something like, well, if this wasn't the case, then I would want to live, but since it is the case, I want to die. Something like that.
Okay, wait. So repeat that last part. I didn't catch it.
So something where it's like, oh, if this wasn't the case, then I would want to live, but since this is the case, I want to die.
If this wasn't the case, you'd want to live, and if this was the case, you'd want to die.
No, if this was the case, then I would want to live, but since this is not the case, I now want to live.
Yeah, perfect. So in this like old man analogy, since he's already content, he doesn't care like to live anymore. I mean, usually like most functioning individuals, right, don't think this way. Anyways, like where they say like, oh, it's content. But anyways, you can even like convince them of like otherwise, like saying, oh, your grandkids will grow up or whatever, right? Or like that's not even like a case of suffering. Then like that's the thing.
Yeah,
there's no suffering.
Granted, the person isn't making the decision because they're like in a state of suffering. Like, oh my god, I'm so broke.
Because I'm like clearly referring to like preventing suffering. I thought like
but do you see the issue? For example, self-stultifying. You're saying you want to prevent suffering, but if someone is experiencing suffering just by living, then you want to prevent that suffering by making them not live.
Wait, so like, is him being content with life an example of him suffering?
No. He's content with how he has lived.
Yeah. So so now he suffers because of that?
No. He's suffering because he no longer wants to live.
Wait, no. I get that. I'm saying that he's suffering because he's living and he doesn't want to live, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think just being content with something means that you don't want it? Is that what it is? That's not how like content works.
No.
Something else. Wait.
What it means? No. Content here just means. Like content here just means satisfied. So he's satisfied with how he's lived. He doesn't want to live anymore. That don't mean to
suffer, right? Yeah. There's other ways to minimize that suffering by perhaps changing his worldview on his content. I don't think the first initial instinct to go for is literally just him killing himself.
Yeah, I can grant that maybe you can throw that person in a therapy session and maybe say, look, you have so much more to live for. Like you can do that, right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? Inherently, what I'm saying is that it wouldn't be a bad thing if we just said, what, bro?
I get that, but I'm telling you that usually the reason why most people would not be fine with it is because of all those other alternatives, right? This is why like the only time people are ever fine with euthanasia, even for their pets, is when like all forms of treatment have been exhausted, like, and they're just gonna like infinitely suffer. Nobody would ever just like
wait. Sign of, like, a disease do you think we should force people to be treated?
Do you think we should force people to be treated?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. No, I don't think.
Yes, if the person, like, granted that they're not in an emotionally volatile state, I believe that if they're crazy, they're psyching out, or even if it's not like blatant like that, but they're still like emotionally volatile, we should probably force them to get treatment because they're not in the state of mind necessary to make that decision.
Okay, wait. So
they are
clear, right? You're saying that.
But if they are emotionally volatile, we shouldn't.
Like, not like mentally retarded, we should be fine with like not giving them treatment, right?
No, that was not what I said. So I didn't even mention the word mentally retarded once. What I said was, granted that they're not in an emotionally volatile state. Yeah, emotionally volatile state. So they're not acting based on purely their emotions. They have reasoning. They can think a little bit, right, about what they're doing before they do it. Granted that they're in a state that they can think and make the decisions, cognitively. I do not think that we should force people in that state to make or to be treated. I think that's completely.
Okay, we should force them to be. That's fine. Do you think? I agree, like people can have like do not resuscitate forms and whatnot, but that's not what I'm referring to either. Because even then, in those situations, the first option to them again is not to tell them to kill themselves at all. Because according to you, right, even if you do grants, maybe it's not the first option. It wouldn't matter because, according to you, saying you shouldn't kill yourself is like the equivalent of literally saying nothing at all, right? Because it's amoral. Like saying how's your day? That's like the equivalent of like saying oh kill yourself.
Yeah, like if you want to kill yourself, then kill yourself. What's the with that?
Yeah, I'm telling you that the reason why people are not fine with that is because people, first of all, right? Because there's other options like to minimize like their suffering or their pain or whatever, right? It's not something that people like.
Okay, I'll pose an example to you. Okay, because I've had this all before. Let's say that Bean Man is in stage 3 obesity syndrome, right? And obviously, since he's in such a high stage of obesity syndrome,
right?
Obviously there are 3 treatment options that you can take to cure this obesity syndrome, which is like kind of fatal. Like he might not make it, or he just choose to just tap out, log out. He's lived a good life, whatever. Obviously, if you were the doctor, you might say, well, look, man, you might want to do these 3 treatment options, right? But the doctor can also say, you also have the option of euthanasia. If you want to kill yourself, then we can do that for you. And I take both of these things to have the same moral weight to them, right? You're just offering alternative that might satisfy this person's preferences and predilections. That's perfectly fine.
Wait, sorry, just give me a second. I'm just doing something.
Authentic name C.
Okay, so basically you're just simply positive. Wait, hold on. So you're talking about this obesity syndrome. He doesn't want to take medication for it, so you think like the best other option is just to tell him to kill himself?
No, that's not what I said. So I said this person, let's just substitute obesity with cancer, right? You have chemo, you have radiation treatment, you have everything, right? Whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And then this person, you've explained all the treatment options to them. They do not want to do chemo. They want to be bold like flames. So instead they say, look, can I just kill myself? Like I'm not doing this out of emotion.
Even then, right? Because clearly like, we have like this intuitive disagreement anyways. I want to progress this debate. Even then, the only trait you're like warranting is consent, right? You understand like the animals don't have the consent, right?
Okay.
So again, like when you talk about those examples, like they're irrelevant here. Either way.
Yeah, no. What I was saying here is, look, this animal here doesn't have the capacity to give consent at all. Like it has no will whatsoever.
It has no will. Do you think an animal wants to be killed? Like, you don't think animals have decision-making at all?
I don't think animals rationally deliberate now.
Okay, so you don't think animals like decide things? Like, for example, like, do you think an animal like willfully go through a fire, like through a fire, for example?
Not the same way that a human would decide to go.
No, I don't care like the same way. I'm just telling you, like, even like when you talk about these examples, right? In all the situations, either way, like an animal still like has like wants and desires. Maybe it's not through morality or like some form of agent. That's fine. But when we talk about an animal, like they still want to do things or not want to do things. Like that's so either way. Like your analogy still falls flat here.
Yeah, like when I said a will, I meant a sort of desire, maybe in accordance with some sort of framework. But if you just mean a will as in something you want to do, then yeah, I grant that all conscious things, all entities
like,
want.
Say, an animal wants to do this or doesn't want to do this. Sorry, no. When you talk about like, this like euthanasia example is the want that makes it distinct, then sure, like according to your worldview, you should still grant the same thing to animals.
No, because the difference is this. Like, I don't grant the same sort of moral weight to an animal that makes decisions based off their desires, in comparison to a human that makes decisions based off some sort of moral framework that's transcendental to it.
Wait,
I think humans do the latter, not the former.
Wait, repeat that.
So when animals have a desire, they just act. When humans have a desire, they compare it to the well-being of other things and blah blah blah. They do all of this.
That's fine, but I'm telling you that if it's the one again, because I'm just talking purely about the want. I'm not talking about whether like which way they have like the want, like what's the reason for the want or whatever, right? I'm just telling you that in the specific analogy, you talked about euthanasia, the distinction here, like for example, of like painlessly killing this human versus painlessly like killing someone else is because they want it to happen. So I'm telling you in this case, the animal probably doesn't want to be killed. So like, how do you still reconcile that with your own worldview?
The death of the animal gives me more net pleasure.
More net pleasure. So like,
yeah.
but then again, like back to the same analogy. In this case, me killing this human, despite him not wanting to be killed, will give me pleasure. Like I enjoy killing people.
Give more net pleasure. So all of society benefits from killing animals.
Wait, all of society benefits from killing animals? Can you explain that? Elaborate on that.
Like for example, I'll just give you an analogy. Well, not an analogy. This is like a real thing that happened. Me, Apollo, Propellant, Beanman, we were talking in VC one day. And those three fat fucks were like, look, let's go out somewhere, let's eat. So I was like, okay, cool. And then when I went out with them, they all ordered the same fucking order, double cheeseburger with fries and a drink. Now, obviously, if there was no animals to kill, they wouldn't have the double cheeseburger. So
yeah, but like the issue is like I don't think that's like net gain though, because according to you, either A, obviously like Apollo, Beanman, like those fat fucks can try a salad, right? But obviously they don't want to, just simply for their own namesake. But if you talk about, for example, three cannibals, they can say, okay, I'm going out with Apollo and Beanman. They're both cannibals. They want to eat humans. So they catch fucking flames and like they put them in their net and then they cook them and then they eat flames, right? For like a little quick snack.
Let's just skip to the reductio. Yeah, I think that if eating humans, suddenly like, I woke up the next day and society was dead set on eating humans, that would give it more pleasure to eat humans. And I don't think there'll be an issue with eating humans. Can we end the debate?
You're fine with cannibalism then, right?
Yeah, I don't have an issue.
Okay. Say that louder to the VC again.
I see, also known as Archie to best, is fine with cannibalism. Granted, it provides more net pleasure to society.
Okay, perfect. So you're fine with cannibalism if it benefits society, which means just simply that cannibalism is wanted or it makes people happy.
It makes me happy. If I get a slice, I'll eat one. Yeah.
Okay. So if you get like a slice of flames, you'd be happy.
Not flames. His meat is.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. So like, I'll obviously give you the hypothetical, right? Like, if flames was like tender and tasted nice, like you would eat them.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so like say that louder for the VC, like again.
If flames was tender and tasted nice, I would eat him, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, okay. Nice. Okay.
Crazy sentences, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I'm just like trying to drive. Like that's perfectly fine. Like I'm fine with ending the debate here, right?